Hello, oh my goodness, check out these beautiful flowers first and foremost. Okay, so I'm going to take you on a little bit of a walk here. I am in Tofino, and this place is beautiful, sort of like a rainforest. Well, is rainforest, but a different kind of rainforest as most people would think. It's not sort of like tropical jungle, but it's got its own little jungle aspect to it. But yeah, I just want to tell everyone, share a bit of my story. We all have stories, and we gotta sort of tell them to make them real. Either we tell them to ourselves or we tell them to others. Either way, still makes them real. So they're funny because they're called stories, and when we're growing up, we hear stories are sort of made up. They're this sort of fantasy world. But if you, like myself, have come to a point where fantasy is reality and reality is fantasy, then you understand that maybe stories are real, even though sometimes we say they're made up. But, so my story probably begins way back when I was born. I was born in Vancouver, Canada, and I grew up in Toronto after my parents sort of split up, and, coming from generation of millennials, a lot of parents splitting up and sort of things getting kind of messy, and ended up living with my mom, not seeing my dad for about 13 years. I didn't see him, and just saw him recently, actually, for the first time, and we've just started talking and forming a relationship. But, so I grew up in Toronto, sort of always felt like I fit in, but never felt like I really... Always felt there was something different, and never could know what that difference was, just felt it. Went through school, was diagnosed with dyslexia, saying that I have troubles reading and writing, and I have problems sitting in class. So for my grade 4 year, I spent it in half the afternoons I was with the normal classes, and then in the morning I would be with the special ed kids, so the kids who have Down syndrome and are autistic and all of those beautiful gifts that people have. By the way, I'm at the ocean. Oh my gosh, yes! So spending half the day with that. And that's when I really started to realize that there was something different about me, or that people saw something different about me that might have been beyond my dyslexia. Because when I spent time with these classes, I loved it. I actually had a lot of fun hanging out with these kids, and was kind of confused a bit because I didn't understand why I was there. Yes, I had trouble reading and writing, and they'd put me on these computer speech to text, and I'd always be scanning books and having the computer read them to me. But I never really understood, and I never knew how to tell my friends in the regular classrooms. They'd always ask why are you going to those classes? And you just, at that age, I had no understanding of why, so I didn't really have an answer for them. So I was the different became that different, and then more and more as sort of school went on, that sort of difference, if not embedded by other students, embedded by yourself, starting to feel different, starting to feel a little isolated. In high school, had a good solid core group of friends. Wasn't popular, didn't really want to be, found it very stressful, found it very kind of had to be fake, and I didn't like to be fake. I like to do what I like to do, and the whole fakeness or just putting on some masks, I didn't really like doing, and I always was very aware of that. That was something that I was always aware of when I was putting on a mask, so that was, I didn't like putting on the mask, because then I felt like I was losing energy. I was focusing so much on the mask and what it looked like and what the mask sounded like and what the mask would do in this sort of situation, that took a lot of energy. Instead of when I take off all the masks, I find myself actually finding energy, and energy coming to me, and gifts coming to me from the universe. So yeah, I got through high school, as we all do, sooner or later, eventually, and didn't know what to do. So my kind of two things that I wanted to do was I wanted to help people, and I wanted to stay physically fit all my life. And one day I was sitting on a bus, and I saw a police officer directing traffic, and I was just like, policing! They help people, and they stay physically fit, right? So I started to go to school for that, and as I was going to school, realizing it was so much text work, and like, they make you read these boring laws, and who gives a fuck? Oh my gosh. But then I started to see that, policing, yes, absolutely, it does help people. There are times where we need police and we need to have someone who has the ability to protect us, absolutely. But when you see the other side of it, when you see the people who are creating or causing or creating havoc or are committing felonies, that's the word I'm looking for, committing felonies, and you see them put into these jails. I ended up volunteering at one jail as just a librarian to hand out books to inmates, and you just walk in these doors and you're like, this doesn't feel nice. Not even to be there, not even to walk through, and you're going through all these doors that are locking, and that sound, I was so happy every day that I could leave through those doors and I wasn't staying there, but I could only imagine the feeling of being trapped there and what that would do to the psyche and what that would do to your mentality and who'd you take it out on. So of course I started to see that inmates feel themselves being victimized, which they are in a way. They're a victim of the system, and yes, they did do something that we deem as you should go to that prison, I see, but at the same time, that's not helping. It's not creating a positive influence in their lives. It's not giving them the opportunity to change. It's actually giving them the opportunity to get deeper into what they're into, to elevate their crime or elevate their ability to earn money through their crime. Blow is a really good example of that, where Johnny Depp goes to jail for trying to import marijuana into the States, and he goes to jail for that, and then he ends up his bunkmate ends up teaching him all about cocaine and how he got caught because he didn't have the right dream, and the right dream was the marijuana versus the cocaine, the price difference, and also the sort of the ability to the ability to just produce more for less effort. I decided after my second year that I was going to drop out, and so I did, and I moved out to British Columbia, and I sort of loved it, but sort of was lost at the same time. I loved being outside. I loved the exploration, but there was a lot of fear of the outdoors, a lot of fear of the unknown, a lot of fear of sort of stepping into that new place in my life. And that fear trapped me. It actually made me quite depressed. It made me kind of sit in front of my computer and just kind of do nothing with my time, watch movies, and but I remember what really helped me, two things. One, I worked up at Mount Washington, which is a ski mountain on Vancouver Island. And I remember I would stand there being so bored, because you just are paid to stand there and say hi to everyone who walks by and gets on the chairlift. But I remember standing there, and I remember looking at the mountains that are across and just seeing beauty, just being like, wow, this is really amazing, and there's some beauty here. So that, and also probably the thing that woke me up the most was during this time I was reading Eckhart Tolle's book Power of Now, which is a really good book. If you haven't read it, definitely it's a good read. But I was driving home one night, and I was just trying to get to a friend's house. They were playing some board games or having some fun. I was really bored all day, and I really just wanted to get there. So I was driving home, and there was a bit of snow on the road, and I say a bit of the snow, and there was like a good maybe inch of snow on the road as I was coming home, and I just classic metaphor for my life. I just kind of put my car in cruise control and going 120 down the highway, and just kind of really just wanting to get home. And I was messing around with my iPod and stuff, and just really not being smart at all, really taking this life for granted. And I ended up passing a semi-truck, and as I was passing that semi-truck, something happened, and the car just started swerving back and forth and all over the place. And I ended up bouncing off the back tires of the semi, and as I'm rolling, I just remember in my mind, like I could hear the sound. It was like this, and I thought I only rolled once. I thought I just was like roll over, and I landed upside down. But what I was told by the semi-truck driver is that I actually rolled like 4 or 5 times. And if you saw the car, it was landed upside down on the driver's side. I had to unbuckle and climb out the back because I couldn't get out my door, and but I was okay. I was sort of in ankle deep snow, and was just totally fine. Just definitely in a little shock, definitely in like a holy shit that just happened kind of thing, but I'm okay. I'm totally fine. It rolled so strongly that one side of the car was completely fine. The passenger side, if you took a picture of it, which I did, it looked like it just didn't even be touched. It looked like a brand new car. And on the other side, on the driver's side, it was just completely destroyed. So that sort of, I remember calling my mom and my sisters, and they were actually all out of the country at that time, and them just being so upset. And I just had this odd sense of calmness in me. I was just like, I'm okay, it's fine, wow, that happened kind of thing. And just like really not panicking, and I was told that I'd get bruises all over my face from the airbag, which I didn't even remember going off. But I was fine the next day, days after that, fine, no muscle pain, was really okay. So yeah, something was there, something that was there to protect me from that, but something I also needed to experience that closeness to death, to sort of start me on this path, which I've been walking. And I'll get more into that story later, but I think I'll finish it up here and just say, hey, you are fucking awesome. You are so awesome. Your fact that you are alive right now is amazing. And you can do anything, really. You really can. You really can. With the ability to have the internet, can connect you with so many people, so much information. There's never been such easier access to information. So anything you want to learn about, you can learn about. You just Google it or YouTube it, and you find someone who's showing you how to do it. It's absolutely amazing. You're absolutely amazing. This world's absolutely amazing. And I just want to say thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And yeah, feel free to leave comments and let me know what you think. Much love. Bye.